This is an interesting project. This one. It's a prototype in a lot of ways, and it's, I don't want to say masterpiece, but this is probably one of the cleanest, most futuristic knives that I've done. I'm very, very pleased with it. This one's for me. I don't think I'll be able to get the stand, but yeah, it'll just fall to the other side, so I'll just do it like this. This one I'm calling Stratocaster. It's not obvious why. Just the name I think fits it. Stratocaster obviously comes from a line of electric guitars, and this knife is, well, I mean, just look at it. It's got a crazy compound grind on the blade. 3 grinds each side. I cannot begin to tell you how difficult this was to do. This is probably the most difficult grind I've ever done in my life so far. And this is with the 1x30 Harbor Freight, too. So, to give you an idea of how tough that was, it's tough. This is a CPM S30V blade, 0 ground, mostly. I made some mistakes in the grind, as you might be able to see on the edge. This is really tough to do, looking through the viewfinder to, let's see, maybe this side. I guess you can kind of see there, the edge isn't completely even in thickness. It's thinnest here, and it's thick here and here, as well as up here. And that's because I basically, when you do a 0 grind, you're basically doing the grind the way you want it to look, but you just keep it the way you want to look and just progressively thin the edge more and more and more until the whole edge is a big burr. And then you put and then you just take the burr off with a stone when you sharpen it. Well, the way this was, I gouged a little bit here and a little here, so I had to do a good bit of grinding then to get the edge back smooth again, and as a result, the edge thickness is a little uneven. So it's good for me because it's not going to anyone. This is less than perfect, so it's good for me then, but not good for anyone else. I'm fine with it though, the way it is. It's got a lovely action on it. This one has bearings, and it's very smooth, as you can see. Very consistent. It's not really a front flipper, and to be honest, this is not my idea. This is someone else's idea. Simeon Custom Knives on Instagram. I saw a knife that he made. I think it's called the Rhino Spur, with this mechanism, and I was really intrigued about it and using it because it basically does exactly what Gus Cecchini's Airborne does and Lee Williams' Kickstop does. It's a hidden flipper tab. So you flip it to open it, and then it disappears. Well, where to go? Well, it's still right there, but it's the lock face. That's the lock face on the blade. It's just exposed. So you just pull on that, and then it flips open. Very simple, very easy to construct, and easy to design as well. The problem is, I talked in the last video about having the edge right underneath the top of the handle. Well, that's not the case here because I had to cut all that away to make space for this. So, to use this, I'm always fighting a pretty heavy leverage disadvantage. And I can't really come forward on top of the blade because of the top wedge right here. So, as far as utility blade, it's not the best, but that's okay for me. Has G10 for the handle scales, gray with an orange stripe, and then black. Orange liners, and a green micarta backspacer, which I haven't used green micarta before, so this was interesting for me. I've always loved the look of it, and I've really wanted a knife to do it on, so just went for it. It actually, the color combination turns out really well. I don't know if it's coming through on camera or not. The viewfinder kind of pales everything out, so it looks really bad in the viewfinder, but then I look at the video afterwards, and it's not too bad. It's got a lovely action. The exact kind of detent that I want, where it's crisp. There's no play. So if you tug on it, not enough to open, just enough to put pressure into it, the blade doesn't come out a little bit, which I've seen some knives do, and I absolutely hate it. It's a pet peeve of mine when knives do that, so I try to make sure that mine don't do it to the best of my efforts. It's challenging though sometimes. I had to redo the detent on this one I think 5 or 6 times before I was finally good. So, but it was worth it. It was totally worth it, and it's fantastic. Really crisp. The last time I had a knife that performed like this as far as smoothness and action was last summer. The first knife that had longitudinal bolsters. I called it Thresher. That was a lovely knife. I really wish I could have kept that one, but you know, things happen. Has the alpha pivot screw as well. Pretty much all my knives are going to use the alpha pivot screw unless the knife is ridiculously small and it just doesn't have space in here for a full-size 1/4-inch pivot. This one just has a stainless steel detent ball. There's nothing wrong with stainless steel detent balls. The only thing you have to do with them is make sure that they've got a flat face on them. I don't know. Can you see that? It has a flat face on it. And what that means is when the ball wears to the surface of the blade, it doesn't gouge. It kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of galls itself smooth on the top. So eventually it doesn't gouge and it doesn't like create a track. It just kind of glides over the face of it. And what's nice about this is if for whatever reason your blade has some uneven finish on it, like it has pitting or whatever, because the face of the ball that's touching the side of the blade is larger than the actual pits and it's flat, it'll just glide over them as if they don't even exist. So even though the flats on this aren't perfect, there is some pitting which I can't really get out because I failed to do it before the heat treat, and this stuff is a pain in the ass to grind post heat treat without power tools. So I just learned to live with it. I'm okay. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with this, truthfully. The design is just about exactly what I envisioned and what I had on paper. There's no lock stick on it at all. It's fantastic lock. There's no play in any direction. It's solid. Actually, no play. Perfect. You do have... This mechanism is actually very alien. Once you get used to it, it's not bad. It's very natural, but you have to be careful because you can pinch your finger on it sometimes. I find it's easiest to learn when you kind of pull from the side and you let your finger glide up and around that contour. Oops. You can do it this way as well, but it's... I mean, it's all real. It all feels very natural doing it either way. But this way is easier to learn and is less risky as far as pinching your finger. This way works too, but you get less power into the flipper tablet. It takes more force, or it takes more energy to flip it this way than it does to flip it this way. Like, if you've ever seen someone that has a knife with a really hard detent, they try like this and they can't do it, and they kind of choke up and do this. That's because you can put a lot more force into the tab like that. Like, that breaks almost without any effort at all. But when I do it like this, it has to open the whole way because that's how much effort it takes. So, sculpted pocket clip on this one as well, which is pretty much standard in all the knives that I do. What else? What is there anything I've missed? Don't imagine. Finish work on this is impeccable, except for, well, the grinds. This stuff is a pain in the ass to grind, so these are not as good as I would like them, and I probably will touch them up at some point. They are good and they're acceptable. They're fine for me. My knives for me don't have to be as good as knives for other people, so I'm okay with it the way it is. I'm actually really happy with it, to be honest. I honestly can't believe that I made this. I still remember when I finished my first folder and remember how that was, and I was ecstatic to have that. And this, compared to that, is like comparing a Porsche to a lemon. It's an insane... The difference is ridiculous. And I'm so happy and pleased with how far that I've come. Not to toot my own horn or say, you know, I'm amazing. I'm just saying I'm improving. I'm really happy with how much I've improved, even in only the last 2 years. I mean, the difference from performance and professionalism from this knife from the ones I did last year is, it's not light years, but it's a really big difference. Every single surface has been attended to. The spine of the blade, really nice and clean. All the edges of the frames, even the little contours and broken corners of the frames on the inside and here have been nicely not polished, but sanded, smooth, hand sanded rather. Nothing. I didn't do any of this by machine. I started out and hogged all of that out with a file, and then just came in with sandpaper and cleaned it all up by hand. I'm very happy with it. That's Stratocaster. That's third knife finished in this batch. I have 2 more to finish. I have one for my friend Dan and another one for a customer. The frame on that one, I need to make a new frame because I made a mistake. I will have it done, no question about it. If I start something, I'm always going to finish it, unless something catastrophic happens and I'm simply physically unable to do anything about it. Well, that's a little different, but that's not going to happen unless it's an extreme circumstance. And by extreme, I mean enough to put me in an emergency room. So as long as I'm not there, I'll be working on these. And if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't like how this is taking me so much longer to do it than I wanted to. I said I was going to have this run finished in March, and it's not March. It's May. It's early May, and I'm embarrassed, frankly, that this has taken so long. But I'm working as hard as I can to get the stuff done, guys. I've just got a lot of things going on right now that have taken my attention and just made life difficult for me. But rest assured that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to screw over a customer. I'm not going to take on a project that I know I can't do. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if it kills me, I will get it done. Because it means, my honor and my word is very important. And if I can't keep true to my word, then, well, people have no reason to trust me, and I don't want to be untrustworthy. So, sorry for the brief rant. It's just I don't get to talk with a lot of people about this stuff. So, but yeah, that's Stratocaster. I'm gonna get these 2 uploaded in just a minute, and then gonna get those customer knives shipped off. Thanks for watching, guys.